Today we're going to be going over how to make changes in the new page builder. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a page that we have the page builder on. So we go to Pages, All Pages, and like you would do before, you find the page you want to work on. In this case, it's going to be this page here. You notice when I hover over it, I get the option of choosing Page Builder. If it's got this green dot next to it, it means it's been built with the Page Builder, and this has. So I'm going to click on Page Builder. That takes me into the Page Builder, and you'll notice whenever I scroll down part of the page, whatever part I'm hovering over with my cursor will have this green or blue box around it, and I'll have a number of different options in here. At the far left, when I hover over this, at the far left you have the row. This is the row, and it's highlighted in blue that I'm hovering over. And inside the row, I will have whatever modules that I'm using in this row. This row has only one column, and this is the column here. If I go down below and hover over this row down below, you can see that I have actually 3 columns in this row. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show how to make one of these boxes. It's very easy. I'm actually going to create a new row and put the boxes in. So we're going to do this down below this row here. I go up to where it has this plus sign, click on the plus sign, and I have a number of different options up here. I'm going to click on rows, and I can choose any number of rows that I want from 1 to 6. And if I want, say I want to have 3 columns like this one above has, I'm going to choose this 3 columns here, and I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to pull it down. I could actually put this in the row up on top, but I actually want to make a new row here. So I'm going to pull it down under this row that's up on top, and I'm going to let go of my cursor. And now you can see I have a new row. I'm going to get rid of this thing here for right now, so I'm going to click on this X. So when I hover over this part, I see my new row, and you can see it doesn't go full width by default. It goes to probably about 1200 pixels by default. I want this to go full width, so what I'm going to do, anytime I work in a row or in a section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the wrench here. I'm going to click on that wrench, and that will give me a whole bunch of different options. What I'm going to choose is, right now it says this row is fixed width. I want to go full width, so I click on here and choose full width. And click on Save, and now you can see that this row is now full width. Still has the 3 columns in the row. For this row, I could do a number of things for the background of the row. If I click on here, I go into row settings, and if I scroll down, I can see that for the background I have a choice of, right now there's no background effect. But I have a choice here. I can do any of these different choices. If I want to choose a color for the background of the row, I choose color, and then I select a color. Say I want to, select a blue or a green, something like this. I can select that for a color for my row. In my case, I don't want to have a color for the row, so I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to select none, and that will take the color out, and I'm going to save my changes that I made. But now you see I have 3 columns that I can put things in. I want to put a box like this. I want to create a box like this in this column. So I go back up to my plus sign here, and with these different options, I have a number of different options. I'm going to select modules. And I have standard modules selected, so I have a number of modules that I can choose in the standard section. Oops. I can also choose a number of different module sections here. I have UABB modules, PowerPack modules. Each one of these gives me a selection of modules that I can put in there. So I'm going to select one of the UABB modules. And these are actually in what they call info banners. So I'm going to take one of these info banners and I'm going to pull it into the column and let go. And now I can move this box any place I want to so I can see what I'm working on here. So right now, if I want to recreate something like, I'll recreate a simpler one over here, the corporate prayer one. You see we have a title in this box, so I'm just going to choose, I'm going to type in corporate prayer. And I'm going to put in, that's going to be my title. And then I'm also going to put in a section down here. Right here I have the time of the corporate prayer, which is Wednesdays at 6 p.m. So I'm just going to type that in. And you'll notice that comes up over here. I have a number of different options at this point. For my background, I can have a color in there for my background. I can choose how everything lines up in the boxes up here. I have it center aligned, so it comes up left justified by default. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to choose center, and you see this now becomes centered. And I have a number of different options down below there. I can also choose an image. If I want an image to be in the background, I can select an image here, and I can select any of the different images that I either have in my media library, or I can upload one from my computer. I'm going to select one from the media library, and we will take, let's see, we'll take one like this one. And this one's actually quite large, but we'll make it fit. So I'm going to select that photo, and it puts the photo in the background. But actually here it's full size, so you can't really see much of the photo, so I'm going to select like a more medium size here, and that fits better. I can see more of the picture in there, but you'll notice that I can't read the writing on this. So what I'm going to do, in order to see writing better when you got a photo background, we often like to use an overlay over the photo. So I'm going to scroll down here till I get to an overlay color. And I can choose whatever color I want. I'm going to actually choose, I'm going to go with a full black color. And then I'm going to choose an opacity of, start out at 40%. See if we can see. We can still see the picture in the background, but now we'll be able to see the writing better on it. So you'll notice the writing is a darker color too, so dark on dark is not going to show up. I'm going to go into typography, and I'm going to scroll down till I find color for my title font, which is right here, and I'm going to make that white so it shows up. And I'm going to scroll down further, and I'm going to get to my description. I have a number of different description options. I'm going to choose white for the color there, so I'll be able to see that writing on there too. And you'll notice that my picture got a little bit too small for that, so I'm going to go back into the image, and I'm going to choose an image size of large. This is not ideal. I should probably resize this picture before I bring it in, so I can do that, and so I won't have such a large picture. that would probably work better for a smaller thing like I'm trying to do here. But once I'm done making all my changes, I'm going to click on Save. And we have something like this, but you'll notice it's a little bit different. You'll notice the columns that I have here don't go quite as full width as these columns. So I'm going to go back into my row settings. I'm going to choose, I've got the width of the column set to full width, but the width of the content is set to fixed width, and that fixed width is 1100. I want that to be a little bit wider, so I'm going to put in 1250. And then you see that the content becomes a little bit wider there. And I'm going to save that and say I want the size of the box to be a little bit taller. I go back into my settings for the module. See, that time I can choose the module, and I always choose the wrench for any module or row that I'm working on. Here I just have columns. I don't have any modules in here, so I don't have a wrench that I can go into. I have to actually choose a module for that first, so I choose my modules back up in here like I did before. You can just pull any one of these modules in here and work on it like that. But say I want this one to be a little bit taller. What I can do is I can go back into the wrench here and scroll down, and I want to set a minimum height for this. By default, it only goes as high as the content that I have in here, but I want it to go a little bit taller, so I'm going to set this to, we'll set this to 250. And we can see that becomes a little bit taller then. And maybe I don't want it that tall. I might just want like 160. That might be a little bit more like what I want. So once I'm done with that, I click on Save. Once I'm done, once I'm happy with my changes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Done, and then I'm going to click on Publish, and that will publish my changes. This page is now the actual page. I'm going to refresh here so everything shows up like it should. But you can see I've actually added this section here. I only put one thing in the column. You're probably going to want to put more in the other columns. But that's how you make changes with this new page builder.